If Trinidad is a boat sailing on the earth, I go sail on it. Oh Lord, I go sail on it. Whether it fast or slow, wheresoever it goes, I go in with it. Tell them I go in with it. I go sail when the tide is flat. I go sail when the tide is near. If she go
fact. That is what I wanted to say. Trinidad and Tobago sit at the crossroads of energy security and regional stability. The Caribbean and Caribbean diplomacy. And yesterday, when I would have heard Sean Sobers made the comment, David Lee and Firoz Khan would have come out with a press conference shamelessly with the Prime Minister, with the Minister of National Security, and we all know the contribution we could expect from Roger Alexander, because from what we are seeing within the public domain, it is easy to say without fear of contradiction that Roger Alexander is a dunce. It's easy to say that. Look at his many responses when he was asked serious questions. We know, we could, anybody, a baby, a child, somebody that go in secondary school could come up with the analysis from after hearing Roger Alexander, could say he's a dunce. That is a given. But where is the Prime Minister? Where is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago? Any military action involving Venezuela, our close neighbors, has direct implication on our economy, border security, energy sector, and the safety of our people. In moments like these, citizens look to their leader, to their elected leader, not for panic, but for clarity, resilience, and direction. So where is Kamla Persad-Bissessar? And anybody, I telling you, Trinidad and Tobago, anybody that is trying to sell the story indifferently do not care about this country. What, I mean, you are afraid, Kamla Persad? Are you sick? Did you go for dialysis? Where is Kamla Persad-Bissessar in all of this? I want going on right there. It ain't going on in Iraq. It's going on about 7 miles away. Where Kamla Persad-Bissessar? Where the Minister of National Security? Where is the top cop? All of them just take a dose of silence just so. But Trinidad and Tobago, you are going to hear this on this platform here today. The top cop in Trinidad and Tobago is nothing more than a UNC stooge. And let me tell you why. Did you remember Trinidad and Tobago? The marijuana altercation in the Prime Minister's house? Alistair Guerrero was in charge of the unit, being a member of the traffic branch. If Kamla get away from that whole charge, bet your bottom dollar that with this whole story, our present Commissioner of Police, Alistair Guerrero, know fully well what would have taken place there. So, and all of a sudden you see top cop position. Boy, oh yeah, different here. A nation, a national address is not about politics or party loyalty. It's about calming fears, conquering misinformation, and affirming that the state is alert, prepared, and acting in the best interest of the population. Silence creates uncertainty, breeds fear, and strong leadership close the gap with truth and transparency. Where is Kamla Persad-Bissessar? Is that a leader? Trinidad and Tobago, that why now tell you there is a given What I now say to you there is a given. Yeah, technician, I know that does always try to pull down the live on TikTok. We keeping our close eyes on that. So you can find us there on TikTok. So Trinidad and Tobago, let's move on to a very important segment that I believe many of you would have took for granted. So to those that are following us on YouTube, thanks for joining us on that short notice. To those that are streaming with us on our website, Workers' Rights 868, you could Google that. We are streaming live on our website. We are streaming on Twitch. The Slimy Show. We are also streaming on that platform. So Trinidad and Tobago, to start the morning, let me just give a little context.
Another thing I want to tell you, Kamla, we sent you an invitation for our Indian Arrival Day program Wednesday at Lakshmi College. You are due to talk, but I want to tell you now, I have revoked that invitation. You are not welcome on our compound.
That's articles.
Kamla, Persad-Bissessar,
It's
you
not
are
massive
not
location.
welcome on our compound. You take for granted. You could behave anyhow. Do what you want, eat what you want, drink what you want. Play the ass all over the place. And the Hindu will still vote for you. Kamla, those days are over. We are asking the Hindus to free their vote. Vote for whichever party has the best program. Vote for whichever candidate is the best candidate. Not because they are Indian and Hindu or woman. The Hindu vote is going to be freed up. No more voting because you belong to the same race or the same class. Kamla, you are going to pay a hell of a price. A hell of a price. You're going to pay a hell of a price. Right?
Now, you hear the statement of Satmaraj. And in his wisdom, why you think he would have made such a statement? Why you think Satmaraj, in his wisdom, would have made such a statement? Now, many of you may be watching Satmaraj and saying he bitter. Now, in the statement, you would have leave a key. And that key wasn't to the warning of the Hindu community alone, you know, but to the population of Trinidad and Tobago. And here is where we're going to tie in this whole thing here this morning. You know. This show here is more important than you think. Satmaraj would have said to Kamla Persad-Bissessar, you feel that you could do what you want. You feel that you could say what you want. And people will just vote for you just so. Although the warning from Satmaraj was for the Hindu community, at this point in time, it is applicable to the rest of Trinidad and Tobago. You have to understand this thing. This man in just talking, you know. When you hear religious leaders,
I want to tell you that we're going to free up the Hindu vote. Another thing I want to tell you, Kamla, we sent you an invitation for our Indian Arrival Day program Wednesday at
Kamla, we send you an invitation. Are you listening? On for Indian Arrival Day. And listen what he said.
Lakshmi College. You are due to talk. But I want to tell you now, I have revoked that invitation.
I revoked that invitation. And here why? Here why?
You are not welcome on our compound.
That's the particles.
Kamla Persad-Bissessar, you are not welcome on our compound. You take for granted. You could behave anyhow. Do what you want, eat what you want, drink what you want. Play the ass all over the place. And the Hindu will still vote for you. Kamla, those days are over.
Kamla Persad-Bissessar, even then, they were having that same issue with Kamla. She feels she could do what she wants. She feels she could say what she wants. And the Hindu community continue putting back this woman in power. And just recently, in the election that would have taken place in 2025, the black people, we would have joined. But it was too late for we to start to warn the people of what is taking place. It was too late. Election was already on the brink. So when we start to talk, they will never respond because they can't respond. Because everybody know that David Naked is a dunce. A total dunce. Everybody know that Aden Roberts is a drunk. Everybody know that they cannot answer Trinidad and Tobago. They can't answer these questions. They cannot answer it. But to add context to what we are saying here, as a leader of a nation, you can't just do what you want. You was elected to serve the people. So in a state of crisis that is taking place here within Trinidad and Tobago, where we are seeing place blocked off all over, panic, the police panicking, and they are telling you, the citizens, here what's going on, or you remain safe, or you don't worry what taking place. That small thing. Satmaraj won all here. Satmaraj won all here. But what I am going to play here is even more terrible than that, because You're seeing people panicking. You're seeing road block off all over the place. And when intellectual people is asking the question, you're seeing David Lee grabbing the mic. From Sean Sobers. When people asking question, watch David Lee, watch him again, watch.
So there's nothing to be worried about. Okay. All right. Oh, let me just.
And that was done on 2 occasions. Whilst the press conference was taking place, look at it.
So there's nothing to be worried about. Okay. All right. Oh, let me just.
That was the second interval there where David Lee would have grabbed the mic. Now, let me show you the next clip. David Lee again.
Yes, and protocols as they're being rolled out.
I want to remind you.
Let me just wrap up.
Minister, I have one question
Sobers.
before you do that because it's important
as Minister
for the national
Sobers would have
interest.
said, Minister Sobers. Yes, and protocols as they're being rolled out.
I want to remind you.
Let me just wrap up.
Minister, I have one
Minister
question
Sobers.
before you do that because it's important
as Minister
for the national
Sobers would have
interest.
said, Minister Sobers. Yes, and protocols as they're being rolled out.
I want to remind you.
Let me just wrap up.
Minister, I have one
Minister
question
Sobers.
before you do that because it's important
as
for the
Minister
national
Sobers would have
interest.
said, Minister Sobers.
So David Lee takes the microphone away from Sean Sobers. And we Trinidad and Tobago had to ask ourselves, who really is the minister in charge of really explaining this? You see, there was a lot of things to be asked of the minister. And David Lee would have tried to alter this whole thing, this whole process from taking place. And we here is asking the question. Should we, Trinidad and Tobago, be afraid of what is taking place in this country? Or shall we go about this whole process willy-nilly? Because it's answers the people want in this country. And when you come to give a press conference, Sean Sobers and the whole UNC team, it's a press conference you come to give. And not one where David Lee coming and hiding the mic and grabbing the mic from you. That is not something that people would have prescribed to. But before we go on to explain, because this thing here would have explained everything in it. But before we go on to add context, And they accuse us. Let me play the video. Yes, let me play this clip here. I want you to understand it, because we are going to go right in and dissect this thing to pieces.
Earlier, one of my colleagues would have asked you about what we saw happening in the capital as it pertains to the lockdown of certain streets that led to the police administration building. Now, while the government says via yourself and the Prime Minister that the attack that happened in Venezuela had nothing to do with us, the police commissioner would have stated in a release that when your neighbor's house is on fire, we should wet our own. My question to you evidently becomes, why did we not have more clearer communication from the government, particularly the Prime Minister? Because the Defense Minister would have said that people weren't worried or they had nothing to be worried about. But the activities that we saw in our capital told a very different story.
I appreciate the question. And I guess essentially, because it's coming, it's a bit subjective. So essentially, in terms of our canvassing as well too, and looking into what was unfolding, I could say that I am aware that many citizens did not feel any type of calamity on the streets within the capital or within Trinidad and Tobago. I think a lot of that would have been connected to the manner in which we dealt with the situation. Respectfully, I don't believe that it's correct to say that the Prime Minister did not give information as it came to us through the National Security Council. As information came, based upon the sensitivity of the information, based upon certain protocols established, set protocols that were being reviewed at the National Security Council level, information was disseminated. This is an ever-evolving situation. And being sensitive in terms of what we see, what we do, how we approach the situation is extremely important. Certain measures, as I mentioned before, within the hours of the morning, because they were established protocols that we were consistently reviewing, were immediately effectuated. Obviously, we have to be careful with respect to how the country is looked at, how we are protected, how safe we are here locally. And I think that is what you would have been seeing playing out in the streets, not only in the capital, but throughout the rest of the country. But I definitely do not believe that anybody felt unsafe or there was any calamity at all. As a matter of fact, I think the contrary of that particular position holds true. You are here, you are safe. Yesterday, I suspect you went about your business as per normal. And that's what we want the country to continue to do. There's nothing to be worried about. The administration is in control. The Prime Minister is on top of things. And we are consistently reviewing certain established procedures and protocols as they're rolled out.
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, you would have heard that statement from that gentleman. And you tell me if that making any sense what Sean Sobers would have now said. Because the police commissioner would have said that when your neighbor house on fire, wet yours. And he would have taken certain initiative. He called off certain parts of Port of Spain. He stopped certain things from entering the city. And now you are hearing Sean Sobers is stating that the people of Trinidad and Tobago wasn't frightened at all. Now, this is a case here where this guy, Sean Sobers, is being utterly naive Because if the police commissioner is taking certain steps to operate within a particular way, calling off certain bats, and you are seeing the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago is not taking that initiative, what we must ask ourselves is this. If the citizenry is not taking that initiative, then there is something that they are not seeing. So before you use that as something to say, well, you know, they must have not understand the type of dangerous situation that we are in, because the police would have taken initiative to call off certain areas and to stop certain activities from taking place within certain areas. They isolate parts of Port of Spain. And then at the same time, you're trying to say the Prime Minister, trying to make an excuse to the Prime Minister not being there to address the nation in this state of crisis. That is what it is. So, to kind of cover up what you're trying to say, Sean Sobers, you start to talk that the people. But who have the responsibility of informing the people? Who have that responsibility? The United States of America would have said that this is unsafe at this point in time. Up till today, the closure of the airspace in Trinidad, Piaco airspace, and you are telling we down here, Sean Sobers, you're telling we down here that we are not supposed to feel fearful? The whole world talking about this. And it's easy to dispel you because we have seen Kamla Persad-Bissessar would have done this when Dave Tanku would have said, let me give Oya, we will give Oya back the money Oya pay for property tax. She said, ask Tanku. And if it reached that point that she have to throw somebody underneath the bus, then Sean Sobers use the first on the list. Because everybody is taking precaution. All countries taking precaution about what taking place here, because the carnage that would have taken place in Venezuela is real. You know what people dead down there? I see pictures with people head blown off. And what I show you in the media and on Facebook and on certain apps, that is just just an iota. Right now, Venezuela is still counting their dead. And you hear what Sean Sobers say? Boy, I just want to know and understand. Some of the times, what going on with the UNC party if they playing people for long. But not only that, let me talk about this question here that would have been asked of Sean Sobers and the UNC party concerning why they keep this press conference in a UNC building. And I'll give you the answer after. You know. As the old people that say, is the change from the dollar is what has bring the noise. So let me play this clip here. Where the question was asked, and I will give you a response in a short while.
I'm asking the location, and I love sugar. I'm talking about it. It's under
I'm glad to hear you love
banner. There's a
Sugarnas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the
Sugarnas
screen, not
too.
Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is here as the Minister of Housing. Firouz is here as the Chairman of the HEC. We are representatives of the government. We're providing the information which the public I suspect they required to hear. Again, the substance is important, not the location.
It's not matter of the location, and I love Shogunas. I'm talking about it's under
I'm glad to hear you love
banner. There's a
Shogunas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the
Shogunas
screen, not
too.
Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is the Minister of Housing. Firouz is here as the Chairman of the HCC. We are representatives of the government. We're providing the information which the public, I suspect that they would require to hear. Again, the substance is important, not the location.
It's not matter of the location, and I love Shogunas. I'm talking about it's under
I'm glad
UNC
to hear you love
banner. There's a
Shogunas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the screen,
Shogunas
not Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is here as the Minister of Housing. Firouz is here as the Chairman of the HCC. We are representatives of the government. We're providing the information which the public, I suspect that they would require to hear. Again, the substance is important, not the location.
It's not matter of the location, and I love Shogunas. I'm talking about it's under
I'm glad to
UNC
hear you love
banner. There's a
Shogunas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the screen,
Shogunas.
not Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is here as the Minister of Housing. Firouz is here as the Chairman of the HCC. We are representatives of the government. We're providing the information which the public, I suspect that they would require to hear.
So Trinidad and Tobago. A question was asked. A question would have been asked. And here it is. And here it is. We were given an answer. And the answer was, is the substance that is important, not the location. And whilst many of us would have agreed to that statement, there is something else that was missing. Other than the factor of substance. What was missing there, Trinidad and Tobago? Is control. And there are certain people that will not make themselves present in that UNC building. And secondly, Trinidad and Tobago, the control factor in which I am speaking about is this. We would have listened to different feed of this same broadcast, this briefing that would have take place within the UNC building, office. And in comparison to all the footage that we would have went through, we would have seen this single most important factor that many of you must pay attention to. When we listen to the audio quality between the two sets of feed, there were different audio quality altogether. Some of you may say, here what's going on. That, what you talking about? That different? What kind of conspiracy thing that this man talking about? But Trinidad and Tobago, the UNC base is encouraged to listen to broadcasting only from the UNC platforms. And to break down the psychology and the methodology behind what I'm trying to present here, the image that must be shaped in your mind, the dissenting voices, the people that was asking the question behind the camera, their voice was not magnified. So if you are on a UNC platform and you are listening to the messagery and the question that was being asked, you will realize that you hear little to no volume at all. Little to no volume. And if you won't hear any questions that the people asking on the next side, you go hear Anil Roberts, you go hear that dunce David Naked, and you go hear Philip Elliott Alexander trying to spin the narrative. Trinidad and Tobago, and by extension the world, understand why the UNC keep that press conference inside the UNC building and not a government, not underneath the government buildings and them where they are custom keeping briefings and press briefings, because they could control the narrative. Trinidad and Tobago. But thank God for certain journalists that would have made their voices present. So when we hear and we take the footage from the UNC platform, we had was to go behind the scene and raise the voices of the question that is being asked. And imagine a UNC, a diehard UNC, only listening to UNC on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, and all them platforms, understand the type of misinformation that they will be receiving every day and night. Because there are people that is being paid to post to keep you entertained, UNC base, to keep you entertained and to keep you on the platform, and to always present the information in a biased way. Imagine some of you will not even see this message and go reach some of them. That is why it is important for you, the average man on the streets, to tell these people and them. And for TV6, for CNC3, and for other platforms to start a broadcast. Anytime they're doing that type of folly, is to bring cameras and run it direct, do a direct feed from your network to the public, because they will continue this. This is the first step. I'm pointing out to you at the end of the day. I ain't telling you, don't do what you have to do it. But that is the height of deception. That is the height of deception.
It's not master the location, and I love Shogunas. I'm talking about it's under
I'm glad to hear you love
banner. There's a
Shogunas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the screen,
Shogunas
not
too.
Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is here as the Minister of Housing. Feroz is here as the Chairman of the HCC. We are representatives of the government. We are providing the information which the public, I suspect that they would require to hear. Again, the substance is important, not the location.
It's not master the location. I love Shogunas. I'm talking about it under
I'm glad to
UNC
hear you love
banner. There's a
Shogunas.
UNC logo
I
on
love
the screen,
Shogunas
not
too.
Ministry of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. It's UNC.
This is the government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am here as the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Minister Lee is here as the Minister of Housing. Feroz is here as the Chairman of the HCC. We are representatives of the government. We're providing the information which the public, I suspect that they would require to hear. Again, the substance is important, not the location.
The substance is important, not the information. Not the location, a matter of fact. And this is something that, and the reason why I would have discovered that there was a time I, Renaissance Jeffrey, would have went a political meeting. And in that political meeting, because we take our footage too when we go to certain places, and in that political meeting, when we would have cut short and we would have went through and say, yeah, what's going on? Let me go through our opponent video material to see what we missed out, because there was some goodies that we would have entered in the midst of explaining. And when we would have reached there, the meeting was done halfway. So when we started analyze the footage, we realized that wait now, the silence some of the footage that would have taken place there. And it's the same thing in this instance. What is taking place here? So Trinidad and Tobago, the meeting, there was certain parts that you are not hearing, Trinidad, that you are not hearing UNC base, that you will never hear. Some of you will remain in that shade until you're there. You will be outside Parliament and people ask you what's going on in the Parliament and you can't answer. And there was a footage, we was looking for it here to play it here. That is why the average UNC member, when they ask them what is taking place with politics, they know. They can't tell you. They were funneled from different parts of Trinidad and Tobago to make the crowd look hefty and nice. But the substance is being ignored. And to be transparent, Trinidad and Tobago, we must push for the government of Trinidad and Tobago to have these press briefings in the government building. When I say that, I say all. So what we are going to do today is to break down this thing in parts that you could understand. So let me go back through here. Another aspect that we must answer. And when we have to ask ourselves, if this boy know he walk, we have to say at the end of the day, he's a total dunce. A total dunce. Delusional. And not understanding what is taking place or what his role and his function is. That is why David Lee could grab the mic. That's why David Lee could grab the mic. Yes, I'll go open up the lines, Miss Arima. Don't worry yourself. I'll open up the lines just now. I'm going to pull back this thing here so many of you could see and understand.
Are you familiar with the U.S. National Security 2025 strategy?
No, I'm
Published
not
by the
aware.
White House.
No, I mean, I guess
Now, Trinidad and Tobago, we had was to amplify what was being asked there. It that sick. So the reporter behind the scene did not talk so hard to give actual context. He didn't talk so hard. We had was to amplify the voice of the person that would have been asking the question. So he could give context to what is being said here. I tell you, but you had to understand the strategy. When a union man walking around with a microphone and declaring what he want, and once you don't have that microphone, you can't say nothing opposite to what he's saying. It's the same thing that's been going on with these union leaders. All Anisette and Roger and all of them, when they go out in the public domain, the PA system, only certain people is allowed to go on the PA system and say anything. Anytime you go there and you decide to say something different, you don't have the voice. You don't have the mechanism in getting an alternate rebuttal across. You can't do that. Normal strategy. Everybody comes, somebody say, but I don't agree. No? And I will tell them that. But when you reach there, it catch you by surprise. You have to understand games. This here is a very serious game that is playing here. And we had to break this precedence from the start.
obviously that would be something that the White House.
Firstly, are you familiar with the U.S. National Security 2025 strategy?
No, I'm not
Published by the
aware.
White House.
No, I mean, I guess obviously that would be something that the White House is
Okay, but I mean, it does have a bit of a foreign policy segue into it, in terms of the kinds of allies that the U.S. wants to have in terms of developing its foreign policy, particularly for the Western Hemisphere. And they dovetail a lot with the statements that the government has made since the deployment began. So my question to you is, one, are you familiar with that strategy? And two, does the government fully endorse that strategy by the U.S.?
Our national security relationship with the U.S. is based upon many different things. In terms of our relationship with the State Department, it has always been the same. We continue to agree, we want to work with the United States as a long fraternal partner to make not only the United States but its allies, Trinidad and Tobago being one of them, safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The well-being of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago has always been forefront and paramount, most important to this Prime Minister and to this administration, and any policy by any country that will ensure that that occurs, Trinidad and Tobago and this administration, led by the Prime Minister, will support.
Firstly, are you familiar with the U.S. National Security 2025 strategy?
No, I'm not
aware. White House.
No, I mean, I guess obviously that would be something that the White House is.
Okay, but I mean, it does have a bit of a foreign policy segue into it, in terms of the kinds of allies that the U.S. wants to have in terms of developing its foreign policy, particularly for the Western Hemisphere. And they dovetail a lot with the statements that the government has made since the deployment began. So my question to you is, one, are you familiar with that strategy? And two, does the government fully endorse said strategy by the U.S.?
Our national security relationship with the U.S. is based upon many different things. In terms of our relationship with the State Department, it has always been the same. We continue to agree. We want to work with the United States as a long fraternal partner to make not only the United States but its allies, Trinidad and Tobago being one of them, safer, stronger, and more prosperous. The well-being of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago has always been forefront and paramount, important to this Prime Minister and to this administration, and any policy by any country that will ensure that that occurs, Trinidad and Tobago and administration led by the Prime Minister will support.
Well, Trinidad and Tobago, what I am going to do here is open the lines. And there are people that come in, messaging me, say open the lines, open the lines, open the lines. Yes, we go deal with our playback situation. What is going on is that some of the things is playing from a hard drive. And we will put it directly on the system. That is what we are going to do. Put it directly on the system so you can place the numbers to call. It's 3332176 right in the bottom. Let us discuss what you would have just heard, Trinidad and Tobago. What you would have just heard there. And watch me. There is a lot of things. The bombing that would have taken place in Venezuela. What is your comment? And I would have just gotten a text here. Despair for local investors as TNT stocks decline. Come on. You're supposed to know that. You're supposed to know that would have happened. Stocks must decline. In a place like this, that ought to be treated as a zone of peace, stocks decline. But you have to understand what's taking place, yes? People afraid to come to Trinidad. Trinidad becomes a place now that all investors is going to be looking at Trinidad as a liability. I don't know if the feed keeps ticking. All investors around the world is going to be looking at Trinidad and Tobago as a liability. Yes, I was looking to send across some videos there so we could see what's taking place all across the world, because it's this thing would have sparked nationwide protests throughout the world. When others would have thought it would have did something differently. Right, so I'm gonna play this video while I look for the rest of the clip, because there are a lot, there are a lot of content that we have. It's just a matter of fact, chance and time to bring up all of this content.
At all as it pertains to the next steps. Us being a close ally to the US in this situation, do we have any information at all as it pertains to the next steps with regards to the political transition in Venezuela? Because it doesn't seem that there's anything concrete at this time.
Well, I'm glad that you said that. As you may well be aware, this is a fluid, dynamic situation. It is ever evolving, and as the situation changes, information will be shared not only with Trinidad and Tobago but with other regional bodies like the Caribbean and other member states within the Caribbean region, and I'm sitting within the world. But as it evolves, I suspect that the information will be given on a need-to-know basis. Don't we have Venezuela obviously involved in the situation because it's between the United States and Venezuela, and we have relationships with Venezuela that we keep alive and concrete as well too, and we wait and see. We don't want to pronounce on matters that could cause a flurry of conversation that is not necessary at this point in time. Stability is important, which is what we're providing here this morning.
Now, when we hear that statement from Sean Sobers, we will be given our information as soon as it comes and all them kind of things. We must ask ourselves one question: are we getting information as it comes? When many of us here is looking to get information, and I just show you how smart some of these reporters are outside there. When many of us are looking for information, Kamla Persad-Bissessar hiding. Since the day in question, Kamla Persad-Bissessar hiding. Nobody know where Kamla is. Yes, good morning, Ms. Arima.
Yes, good morning. You'd have to call me back.
Yeah, no problem. I'll call back Ms. Arima there. I'll call back Ms. Arima.
Hello.
Yes, Ms. Arima, what's going on?
Happy New Year,
Thanks very much. How you going?
and you're having a good program.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know it does always, you know how it does always be on this side.
From Mr. Rima.
Yeah, long time I
All
hear
of
from
the
you.
chat line, me call, telling me to call in, so I calling in because the thing get hot now.
But
And
you,
as you know, I was waiting till certain things happen.
mm-hmm.
First of all, you getting any feedback?
Well, yes and no. Yes and no.
Hear me clearly now?
Yes, I hear you clearly. I getting some. No, I ain't getting no feedback in the back.
Right. So let's take off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Sean Sobers don't know the depth of this whole situation with Venezuela, the United States, Iran, Russia, China, and as far as Korea. This thing is very, very deep. And for who has been listening to me for a long time, or even, let's say, about 2 years ago, on these issues with Venezuela and the United States, would know I don't talk lie.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things come out now. They used to tell Mr. Arima, hush. Well, I hush in this period to allow certain things to happen with this government. So I coming out now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell the citizens of this country, do not underestimate Venezuela. And all the false information they're getting about Delcy Rodriguez and that she will agree with Trump, the United States, to run that country,
Mm-hmm.
do not believe it. Delcy is even more dread. I will use low terms. She is more serious than Nicolas Maduro. Don't underestimate that little lady with that baby voice. What they will do to us will come unexpected, just like Venezuela. What happened to Venezuela? Listen to me, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm warning you all. I am telling you this country is under siege from the southern part of the country. East Venezuela. When the lady Kamla Persad-Bissessar opened her mouth and Delcy started responding, pay attention how she take action right away with the gas in the 2 gas fields. I wouldn't mention them. We know what it is they're talking about. So if Delcy could do that to give us some economic problems here in this country, I want you all to pay attention and follow from what she did. Don't underestimate her. She will be coming at us. They will creep up. It don't have to happen today, tomorrow, next week, but in time to come. Ms. Arima, words don't fall. It is going to come. And what Venezuela will take long to do, Iran don't take long to do things. This is a proxy war. A lot of countries involved. and it's an eye for an eye with those Iranians. Sean Sobers must know that Iran have assets in Venezuela. They have hectares and hectares of land. Russia, China, they have assets in Venezuela. So Trump can't tell Delcy that he go run the show. Delcy can't give in to Trump, the US, because these fellas, these countries that I just mentioned, controlling the show. She have to follow what they say. Not because she say we will have dialogue. Venezuela always want to talk. They does always talk and have dialogue. And if they want, if they choose, they just change their mind at times and come back again. But the way Delcy talking is what she wants. Pay attention, people. Don't let nobody fool all you and say all kind of foolishness. And we must accept all the foolishness that's going on, that's coming out of their mouth, especially that foolish woman they call Kamla. Look what she calls in this place. I don't want to go further. Let me give somebody else a chance.
Arima. Now Arima talk something. Arima talk something there that, you know. Yeah, we can echo on this side. Yes, Arima talk something there. Arima, you could call me on WhatsApp and all. If you so desire. Now, many of you outside there, Trinidad and Tobago, would have heard that discussion. And when the people of Trinidad and Tobago have been warning Kamla Persad-Bissessar concerning her tone, the opposition have been doing the same thing. Kamla, what's your tone? What's your tone? Even if you get out, even say slimy and all at a man, so slimy. Yes, good evening, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good morning.
All right. I'm calling to add a little bit of what Miss Arima said. I agree with her on what Delcy said.
Mm-hmm.
But the first question we have to look at when we're looking at this and how Venezuela is going to respond is we saw those helicopters, first of all, enter Venezuelan airspace without being shut down. So what the talk that is going on right now is someone in the government of Venezuela betrayed Nicolas Maduro. So it's either Delcy Rodriguez, Padrino, or this other one, Cabello.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the first thing that came out after the invasion was that Delcy is on a plane to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, I'm me analyzing the situation, that puts like a sense of suspicion over her. Like did she set this up? Did she set up Maduro? So I sent you a video.
So slimy, wait, before you go on, you don't feel that America just put out that as propaganda to set she up?
Absolutely not.
Why? Why you will say that? Because I hear people saying that too.
No, repeat what you just said. I didn't hear you just now.
You don't feel America would have just put that out in the public domain as to set she up to make the people feel as if she.
That is a possibility.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That is a possibility. Yeah. To put suspicion on her. Yeah. That is a possibility. I was thinking about that too. So now we have to see. So Maduro's son came out saying that he was betrayed by someone in the government.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing we are supposed to see in Venezuela is we're supposed to see a house cleaning. So if Delcy is really in charge and really what we're supposed to see like a cleaning out of the military. Whoever there should be some investigation on who betrayed Maduro, because think about this. This had to be done like on a big scale, because to get to Caracas you have to fly over mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And you're trying to tell me from the small man radar detector who's manning a radar position, you're trying to tell me that radar operator seeing this couldn't transmit this information ahead of time to Nicolas Maduro. So it's a big kind of the military let down their leader. So if Delcy is really on point, like Miss Rima said, she should do like a house cleaning with all those military people, because Venezuela is, if the United States could come in with $100 million and bribe off the whole freaking Venezuela military, then Venezuela is wide open for invasion. Feel me?
And I feeling it's just the people in it. See, I can't really trust people. In the same Bible would have said, he who build on the people build on sand. And the inner circle may have been compromised, could have been one person or two person or a multitude of people.
Before they did the invasion, they cut out all of the electricity in the neighborhood. And the entire security team for Maduro was assassinated. So he was in like a building, like a high-rise building. And did you see the video with the helicopter hovering above the building and dropping down?
Yes. I see the simulation and all, because somebody would have said me how they would have thing, and I would have went into the simulation. America's so sad, they put it out in it.
I didn't see the simulation part, but from what I could do from like surmising, like they cut out all the lights, maybe. Oh, and also they had the China envoy come before. Maduro was betrayed on some levels that we just can't understand. This could have been also, I think Russia, China, Iran, they had a part to play in this too. Like when you look at the stuff that's happening in Ukraine, it almost seems like with this national security pronouncement that Trump put out a couple of weeks ago, where he said he's shifting. Remember when Trump and Putin had a meeting in Alaska like about a month ago or something? And right after that meeting, he came out with the announcement that the United States is changing their security posture, and we're going to like abandon Russia and Ukraine and focus on the Caribbean and South America, whatever. Damn, I forgot the whole point I was trying to say.
I know that person does have a lot on your mind. No, with the same simulation thing that we were talking about with how they would have done it now.
Oh yeah, they went in with their night vision goggles. They cut all the electricity, and they went in and they just assassinated the entire security team. It was disgusting.
Wow, everybody was assassinated, and I see the thing. Everybody was assassinated.
The whole security team. They killed all of them. Like they went in the dark with, just like you see in the movies with their night vision goggles and stuff, and they just kill everybody. Like the entire security team. It's just so disappointing. His military let him down.
Well, I know you did.
So
you was covering the thing since the morning at the incident. I mean, you that week, man.
Yeah, I covered it live.
Yeah.
When like, cause someone on Twitch told me that we covered the whole shit live, and I'm actually pretty happy with my assessments, because the assessments I gave live is actually coming true today. Like the military standing down and all that. I'm pretty good with that live.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, I agree with
Mr.
Rima up. Yeah, I agree with Mr. Rima up to the point where if she is not the one that sold out Maduro, then she has to clean out her whole security team. All right, that's my contribution.
All right, thanks very much, sir. So to the people that are joining us live here, I mean, you could join us live here on TikTok as well. I mean, I was listening to this video here. Somebody sent this video, and I find it would have made a lot of sense. This guy here.
Hear this. All of us in Trinidad and Tobago living inside one big house. Different rooms, different backgrounds, different beliefs, but still under the same roof. The same land, the same future. And inside this house, instead of learning to live together, We've been trained to fight each other. Race versus race, religion versus religion, party versus party, red versus yellow. Why we arguing in the living room? The ones in charge upstairs, they just keep running the house how they want. Every 5 years, the script repeats. Sweet talk, big promise, a little contract here, a little hamper there, and a few popular voices to sell the dream. And just like David Rudder said in Madman Rant, they always promising something, and somehow we always believing. Our grandparents were fooled, our parents were fooled, and now we the children, we still taking chin up. Cry, we complain, we bawl on the internet. But when election day comes, we split back into two sides of the same house and hand the keys back like nothing ever happened. Because the truth is simple. A divided house is easy to control. If we fight each other, we don't unite and demand better. So corruption continues, mismanagement continues, broken system continues, and the people, the ones who really own the house, remain powerless in a place they're supposed to control. So hear this. Until we stop seeing each other as enemies and remember, we are finally under the same roof, until we put country before party, people before politics, unity before ego, we will always be victims of lies, false promises, corruption, and mismanagement. But imagine, just imagine if everybody in this house finally said, enough. We deserve a country that works. We deserve leaders who serve. We deserve better together. That day, the house would stop shaking and Trinidad and Tobago would finally become a home.
Now, just before, Renison Jeffrey, in the beginning, I would have played a clip for you concerning Satmaraj. And although he didn't say it, but if you're listening to the subliminal messaging behind what he was saying, many of us would have looked at it as a racial statement as he died. Many of us, they try to downplay it as if, boy, you see this man? He disgruntled. But when you listen to the message of Satmaraj, I believe that the demons was talking to him. He had was to say that before he died. There are people that feel that they could go about and say what they want and do what they want, but at the end of the day, confession, this, even if you won't talk, the very stones will sing the praises of Almighty God. Let me go into this clip one more time. Try that understand. You can't hide falsehood all the time. You can't hide. God have a way of making certain things happen. Yeah, he have a way of making certain things happen.
We are asking the Hindus to free their vote. Vote for whichever party has the best program. Vote for whichever candidate is the best candidate. Not because they are Indian and Hindu or woman. The Hindu vote is going to be freed up. No more voting because you belong to the same race or the same class. Kamla, you are going to pay a hell of a price. A hell of a price. You're going to pay a hell of a price. This is Kamla Persad-Bissessar. I want to tell you that we're going to free up the Hindu vote. Another thing I want to tell you, Kamla, we sent you an invitation for our Indian Arrival Day program Wednesday at Lakshmi College. You are due to talk, but I want to tell you now, I have revoked that invitation. You are not welcome on our compound.
That's the party girls.
Kamla Persad-Bissessar, you are not welcome on our compound.
Why?
You take for granted. You could behave anyhow.
Yes.
Do what you want, eat what you want, drink what you want. Play the ass all over the place.
Yes.
And the Hindu will still vote for you. Kamla, those days are over. We are asking the Hindus to free their vote. Vote for whichever party has the best program.
And many of the Indo community never listen. Because Kamla was going down a road that the pundit was seeing, irregardless to how much of you may have think of him in a particular way, Kamla Persad-Bissessar is going down a road that they was able to predict, or I don't know how much closed doors conversation they maybe have, and what she would have promised. She is going down a road. Satmaraj warned her, yeah. But that warning was for the country. He talked to the Hindu, he said, hey, vote for party for whatever policies that they are providing. Stop following this nasty, stinking caste system. That's what he's saying. But he didn't put it in them kind of language, he polished it up. And many of you, the same regime, the same Kamla regime, would have taken that as something and say, hey, yeah, what's going on? Let me do take it. And spin that narrative. Satmaraj, he didn't get what I promised him. How much time you go hear that story? Every time certain things come up with Kamla and then Roberts, the drunkard, David Nake, the dunce, is coming to you and trying to reshape reality. And I'm here telling you, Trinidad and Tobago, if that is who you look up to, then crapo smoke your pipe. My God. And what we are going to do here today is this. We can hear this thing from Silver Fox himself.
This election is not about me. This election is about those people out there. This election is not about me. This election is about their party.
Basdev Pandey was busy at Rienzi Complex on Wednesday. Fresh back from vacation in London, Mr. Pandey was briefed on preparations for the January 24th election. His duty, he says, is to protect the party which he built 20 years ago with the help of its membership and others. And having done what he can, he says their future is now in their hands.
They're going to take it now and put it in the hands of people who were not there when this party was formed. I think all people are intelligent. I'm not worried about that.
Mr. Pandey is not worried about a challenge to leadership. After all, he says it's what the UNC stands for.
We have said, first of all, that we want to introduce democracy into this party. And what you see taking place at the moment is that exercise. It's not an easy exercise, very expensive, very tedious, very long exercise, but we are working hard at it.
Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who is opposing Mr. Pandey, has said she does not believe he will accept the result if he loses. His response?
That sounds to me like a person who knows they're going to lose.
No, but really, what if he loses?
I will go and ask Kamla for a job.
Mr. Pandey says there have been 15,000 new applications for membership. The membership committee, he says, will process as many as they can in time for the election. He dismissed any talk of persons with dual membership voting in the election, saying no political party will allow that. And what of the unity he's yearned for? Can it happen if he wins?
We say simply we have to sit down and meet around the same table and talk about unity. That is the only way to do it. There is no other way.
For CNC3, I'm Roshan Sukra.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Some months, I think it's months, after the elections, two friends, mutual friends of ours, came to my home to chat and so on. My home is not very far from where Kamla house is. And when they came, they said, well, boy, why all you do tonight and so on. I said, I'm waiting for Kamla. What has Kamla got to say? And they told me that Kamla says that she can't get in touch with me. Now, everybody has my telephone number in Trinidad and Tobago as far as I'm aware, right? So the guys them said, well, we are at Mr. Pandey's house. Can we come over? And we went over to her house. That palatial thing you see in Philippines, that's the one we went into. And when I went there, I asked her, I said, well, listen, tell me, what can I do to assist? And she kept saying, well, you know, you are the guru, you know everything, and so on. I don't know if she was completely sober, but whatever it was, she kept saying that. And I say, yes, that may be so, but you are in office now and you know what the problems are. Well, what can I do to help? And she keeps saying, but you know, you are the guru, you should be, you know everything and so on. I realized I was getting nowhere and said, good night, I'd leave, and began leaving. When I reached the door, and this marks the date, at the time there was a chutney soca competition in Skinner's Park that night. And when I reached the door, she said, yes, there is something you can do. I said, what that? She says, you can accompany me as I walk onto the stage of the chutney soca competition. I said, madam, that will be beneficial neither to you nor me. So, no thank you.
Now, that clip was to be stated there. Because as soon as Kamla Persad-Bissessar would have attained power, she would have placed the entire UNC party underneath her. So anybody that speak out, she deal with them. The membership deal with them. And all because she have this misinformation shit train. And the day the UNC party could come out of that umbrella, or you start to visit other networks and or you start to see certain things that people are doing within the rest of Trinidad and Tobago, something else is going to take place with the party. But all for now, all the people that Oya have on certain burners, they will soon realize what is going on with this UNC party. And under Kamla Persad-Bissessar, it can never be the dream that Pandey would have intended to be. It have come nothing else nothing short, a matter of fact, than a propaganda machine designed to thief the minds of the base, the UNC base. And with that, Trinidad and Tobago, with that said it all. That said it all. Be careful to the information that you're tuning into and to the type of people that is giving certain information. So, to everyone that is on TikTok, good afternoon to you. Good morning, sorry. To you that is on Facebook, good morning to you. No, not Facebook. We are not set back up Facebook. Imagine, first the information coming rapidly. They would have said to us, the Facebook, they say we selling drugs. I never smoked, not even a cigarette in my life. That is the extent that people is going to go, the fanatics and them. But I am here to say one thing, Trinidad. Let me read out the response that have been sent from the PNM party. PNM would have stated this clearly. Underneath the ostracy of Penelope Beckles, the embodiment of strength. That is what Penelope is, the embodiment of true leadership. The embodiment of a real mother. Not what you're getting from Kamla Persad-Bissessar. She's a traitor to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the country. This is all about her. So, this response have been sent by the Honorable Penelope Beckles. A statement to the current attacks taking place in Venezuela. Port of Spain. Port of Spain. Reports claiming internationally regarding U.S. state military attack in Caracas, including claims of the capture of the Venezuelan President Maduro, are deeply troubling. While some information remains unclear and unconfirmed, as such development in our immediate geographic space is a matter for serious concern for Trinidad and Tobago, CARICOM, and the wider Caribbean. Trinidad and Tobago consistently upheld the principles of respect for sovereignty, non-interference, and peaceful resolution disputes under the People's National Movement. And that distinction should be remain clear, because this thing that taking place here with Trinidad and Tobago, nobody in this country wanted no war. It's only Kamla and not even serve the membership in it. But because it are men like Anel and dotish man like Philip comedy and mountain thing, it putting certain people in fear. So the PNM reaffirms our party firm commitment on our country and all other countries maintaining in the Caribbean as a zone of peace. We will caution against action that may further destabilize the region and endanger civilian lives. And there are many people that would have died. Kamla Persad-Bissessar would have been cautioned concerning that. We call on all parties involved to exercise restraint, respect international law, and pursue dialogue and diplomatic solution. The protection and preservation of human lives must remain paramount We have taken note of the Prime Minister's three-line statement this morning, which made no reference to the fact that Trinidad and Tobago has an embassy with staff in Caracas. We place on record our concern for the safety and welfare of the staff of all Trinidad nationals in Venezuela. At this critical time, party, we pray for peace and resolution, for calm to prevail, and for our safety and well-being, and for the safety and well-being for all those affected, ended the Honorable Penelope Beckers. This was done on January 3rd, 2026, even before the Prime Minister of this country would have stated anything and send them three little clowns. Instead of sending Roger Alexander, instead of sending Alistair Guerrero, the man who know about that whole weed talk that they find within your resident. It is coincidental that he end up the commissioner of police today. That same Alistair Guerrero. Even before all of that, Penelope Beckers would have made a statement, and I, Renison Jeffrey, applaud Penelope Beckers on that. So without further ado, we had was to eradicate some of the things that was keep up here on our feed. But at the same time, Trinidad, yes, we will deal with this in a while. We will deal with that in a while. One taker.
Prancing for a few dollars about code and yellow and code. Bless good morning to all. What code are they talking about? What code are they jumping and prancing for a few dollars about code and yellow and code and all that kind of nonsense? All they really knows what goes on inside of the UNC? All they know anything? All they just jumping. All they know what going on inside of the UNC? I was in the belly of the UNC. And I could tell you what does go on inside there. I was in the UNC because I have decided I am going to fight for good governance in this country. And I will continue to do so. But let me tell you what happened. The second or the last meeting we had in Persad building, when the leader called me and asked me, Victor, what we need to do to win this election. And I said to her, look, all we need to do is to get rid of those individuals who is involved in corruption, who has allegations of corruption against them. Once the name jumping in corruption, put them in the back. Find young, fresh, bright individuals to put in the front line. You know what was said to me? You know what was said to me? What was said to me is, Victor Roberts, what you want me to do? Remove people like Ratiram and Padarat and Munilal and others and put people like you? What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? All of you jumping and balling, yellow is code. What does that mean? You work it out. To the end of the day, I led many protests against the Rowley administration. Many. Never one day looked for a cent from any one of them inside of the UNC to conduct my protests. I did it out of my own pocket. Never look for a cent, because good governance is not looking for something. Good governance is not jumping and prancing. Good governance is to ensure that you have people and hold them accountable for their actions. You see that new chapter that Stuart Young speaks of? That is what I intend to follow, because inside of that new chapter, there's a place for everybody. In that new chapter, ladies and gentlemen, it speaks of the development of the young people. It speaks of the energy sector. It speaks of the agriculture sector. It speaks about every ministry, national security, code of ethics. Everything is inside there. And that is what we must stand for. So I am prepared to give Stuart Young that chance to unroll that new chapter. And let me tell you this. Inside of that new chapter, there is a place for the young and the future generation. This is what we need in this country. It's about time people stop thinking about self and put country first. That is the mission going forward. So you see all this dotishness about yellow is the code for a few dollars. Look, or you get off of that idiotic kind of thinking. Because let me tell you this before I close. All that is to put a cent in your pocket for today. But how are you going to live tomorrow? The new chapter is the way to go. And I am supporting Stuart Young and the new chapter going forward. I gone.
Trinidad and Tobago. If we did listen to that, if we did hear what was not being said, many of you would not have even voted for that political party. Now we are seeing the results of yellow is the code. We are seeing people going jobless. We are seeing all the taxi fines double. And we are seeing the average citizens going on the breadline. And we must ask ourselves the question, what are we prepared to do going forward? There's no way that we should sit back now and just stay in line and allow things to happen. No, that is not the way. We must put that fire back within our belly and stand up and fight. Don't give up. My number is always there to the many of the groups of people that we are meeting on a daily basis. I'm a number, call me. We'll have personal conversation, because there are many things that we cannot say here that we can talk about in person. That when we decide to make this standoff, thousands of you will be there present. So there's a comment I'm going to read here now from Facebook and YouTube, a matter of fact. Screen's a little bit fast, so comment on Facebook. The people who call themselves Christian, where is your spirit of discernment? Yes, people. In fact, let me go on it. Where is your spirit of discernment? Yes. People, the spirit of discernment is what will discern right from wrong. Help you to make the right choices. And it's so true. Where's your spirit of discernment? Where is your discernment in all of this? Where is the Prime Minister? Where the Prime Minister? Where is Roger Alexander, Big Mud Roger? Where is Alistair Guerrero? It's a good thing people not stupid outside here.
Can anybody tell me why our Prime Minister is always doing official press releases via Twitter? Can anyone tell me why just a few months ago our Prime Minister would have reaffirmed to support to US military exercises within the Caribbean? And now this morning when the US has struck Venezuela, she has come out on Twitter to say that Trinidad and Tobago was not involved in this. Ma'am, anti-cams, there's a whole radar in the Tobago airport and a military base. What are you talking about?
That was a good thing. People not stupid outside here. Move to the top of the line. Move to the top of the line. Yeah, a good thing that people, plenty of you outside there are not foolish. A big radar outside there in Tobago. I know you're saying things. Many of you are saying about the Venezuelan protests that would have taken place outside there. Plenty of them would have been protesting against Maduro. But not understanding
Este es un llamado a los organismos internacionales. ¿Dónde están, carajo? ¿Dónde están? Todos juntos vamos a salir a defender la patria, porque esta patria es nuestra, esta patria es de nuestras próximas generaciones, esta patria es de nuestros hijos y merece que nosotros brindemos y ofrendamos la vida por ella, porque Venezuela es nuestra, Venezuela se respeta. Pónganse alertas, comunidades, porque no vienen por nosotros, vienen por el petróleo y van por ustedes también. Entiéndanlo, que ellos aquí quieren petróleo para continuar sus guerras. Entiendan que ellos aquí quieren nuestras tierras para poder seguir alimentando guerras. No son un ejército de paz. La hora de la tierra es la hora de la chiquita y aquí nos vemos, compatriotas, defendiendo la tierra. Esta tierra es nuestra. ¡Viva Venezuela!
I see people of Venezuela. Watch how much of them that it have outside.
Este es un llamado a los
Watch how much of them it have outside.
organismos internacionales. ¿Dónde están, carajo? ¿Dónde están? Todos juntos vamos a salir a defender la patria, porque esta patria es nuestra, esta patria es de nuestras próximas generaciones, esta patria es de nuestros hijos y merece que nosotros brindemos y ofrendamos la vida por ella, porque Venezuela es nuestra, Venezuela se respeta. Pónganse alertas, comunidades, porque no vienen por nosotros, vienen por el petróleo y van por ustedes también. Entiéndanlo, que ellos aquí quieren petróleo para continuar sus guerras. Entiendan que ellos aquí quieren nuestras tierras para poder seguir alimentando guerras. No son un ejército de paz. La hora de la tierra es la hora de la chiquita y aquí nos vemos, compatriotas, defendiendo la tierra. Esta tierra es nuestra. ¡Viva Venezuela!
Now that was the people of Venezuela. The nonsense that you are seeing within international media with Venezuelans protesting are staged. In Caracas, that is not the scene. And here it is, we here are making pronouncements on things that we don't understand, i.e. the UNC base and other paid propagandists. Many of the people there, people is being, bodies right about now is being found all over. What do you think will then take place with the people? a government, a failed U.S. government, would have engaged in kidnapping of a of a president of a next country. You up in the middle of the night and he kidnap him. And that is our sovereignty right there. And if that is the precedence that we are setting, then crap will smoke our pipe. And in the ending of this whole entire scene here, for our close, Trinidad and Tobago, for our close, I would like to play one more video that come from UNC camp. And I have to ask myself one simple question. You, Trinidad and Tobago, have to ask yourself same question. But don't let David Lee grab the mic, eh? This is what the not answering. And this here a whole lot. Yeah, Sean Sobas. This thing is real funny, you know. Yeah, Sean Sobas.
Who do you recognize as the head of Venezuela right now?
As it pertains to that particular question, I really don't think it arises. What arises is in terms of the transition. The questions that are being asked and the information that we are providing here this morning, we have to be extremely careful in terms of what we see. We need to be very sensitive and alive to the situation as it evolves, and based upon what is being asked, we'll provide the response that we think are tethered to that careful process.
So you don't want to say right now?
No, I think I've answered the question.
It doesn't arise?
That is the position.
Okay. Oh, your boy Sean Sobas. So you do the comparison between you and Amy Brown. Or you prefer that dotish piece of shit that you would have now hear there. Yeah, but you hear that whole thing? The man asking the question, how the question didn't arise. You hearing Sean Sobas? Or you prefer that over Embry Brown? Bye. Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. Now is exactly 11:10. Thanks for watching. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and we are committed to bringing you content that will alleviate you, that will break the chain of the manipulation that they place within the public domain. Thanks for watching, and I am out.
Who do you recognize as the head of Venezuela right now?
As it pertains to that particular question, I really don't think it arises. What arises is in terms of the transition. The questions that are being asked and the information that we are providing here this morning, we have to be extremely careful in terms of what we see. We need to be very sensitive and alive to the situation as it evolves, and based upon what is being asked, we will provide the response that we think are tethered to that careful process.
So you don't want to say right now?
No, I think I've answered the question.
It doesn't arise?